Hello, and welcome to another episode of Gameworms. I'm playing with the format a little bit, so I'm off to the side, so hopefully I'm not so blocked by the picture-in-picture, so it's kind of experimenting to see what works best, so please let me know. Today is a Dudley's Choice game review, Dudley being the stuffed dragon here. Once again, COVID preventing me from having real people over. So Dudley will be my competition today. Today we're going to be playing a game called Bargain Quest, and this is an indie game created by Jonathan Ying, who I've met at Shucks, the Shut Up and Sit Down board game convention, a few years ago. So I actually got to play test this one before it was released, and it was a pretty neat idea. So I'm just going to give an overall concept of the game, and not too in-depth with the rules, but then we'll kind of go through the rules as I play along. And I haven't played it in a while, so I do have to refer to some notes on the side. You're wondering why I keep looking over here. But as an overview, in the game, Dudley and I are shopkeepers inside of a town besieged by monsters. And this town has heroes that are coming to rescue it. And our job as the shopkeepers is to sell them their equipment. The way to win the game is to get the most points, and the way you get points is by having the heroes do well with your equipment. So if a hero goes out and fights a monster, and he manages to wound it, you get a point. If he survives the encounter, you get a point. And at the end of the game, you also get a point for every 5 gold that you've accumulated. So there's a few different angles. You could just work on focusing on getting a lot of money, or really focus on getting the heroes the equipment they need to survive and to do well against the monsters. But the monsters do tend to have a detrimental effect against the players. Now, in order to start the game, each of us are going to start with 5 gold. Let's put that in the store here. One really neat thing about this game is actually the artwork. And I don't really know how well you can see the detail. I'll probably try to bring up a larger scan when I edit. But every store is unique. Or the artwork is unique. So there's no functional difference. But a lot of effort was put into the artwork in this game. And this was, I believe his sister works for Disney, helped out with a lot of the artwork. He did some of it himself. But all the stores have a completely different style and different artwork. So I kind of have a Chinese-themed shop here. And Dudley's is kind of more, maybe like a Renaissance-looking sort of a thing. And even all the cards, like the heroes and the employees you can hire and everything, they're all different images. There aren't too many copies of cards. And looking at our shop, we have a few elements here. We have employees we can hire, so I actually need to leave some room there for that. Our stores have a display, and so that's how we convince shopkeepers to come to our store. The better your display is, the first pick you get at the heroes. And upgrade, so I can make it so my store has better storage and display areas. So first thing we need to do is pick who gets this token. And it's not exactly a first player token. Everybody plays at the same time. It's more of a tiebreaker token. And I mentioned, I don't know if any of you saw my Santorini review, I did mention a lot of games kind of have a quirky element as to how they choose who the first player is. In this game, it's who is the last person to do a cash transaction. I almost never use cash anymore, so definitely Dudley. He's all about the cash. He doesn't trust banks, so we're going to give him that token. So when we got our money, so we each start with 5 gold in our store. We've got to sort out who the monsters are besieging the town, and there are 3 levels of cards. There's level 1 monsters, level 2 monsters, and level 3 monsters, and we're going to randomly choose one of each. So I'm just going to draw a 3rd level. We'll put that face down, so I don't know which one that is. Then I'm going to choose a 2nd level monster. Put that there. And then on top, we're going to put our 1st level monster face up. Alright, so our town is currently besieged by the Goblin Chief. The Goblin Chief, I'll flash the card up. The Goblin Chief has a few features. If you look at the bottom left of the card, it says 10 on a piece of gold. The heroes who confront the Goblin Chief and survive will get 10 gold for confronting him. Even if they don't kill him, they manage to loot a little bit of his treasure, and they'll get 10 gold. And if they kill him, they actually get 15 gold on completion of killing him. The Goblin Chief has an ability called Robbery. So at the start of the supply step, oh no, which is coming up. Oh, this is part of the supply step. So good, we're not going to get robbed this round. At the start of the supply step, each hero loses 5 gold. So he steals our money. The shield, it's got like a skull with a shield. It says the number 3. So what the heroes need to hit him is a 3. And he hits on a 4. So the heroes need a shield or armor of 4 or higher to avoid getting killed. Alright, so that guy's who we're worried about. Alright, now we're going to draft our stock, our store stock. So there's a big old item deck. Again, mostly unique. There are going to be some repeat, like basic items, like, you know, I think there's probably a couple torches and basic boots and things. But for the most part, the items are all unique. And it's kind of a draft. So we're each going to deal, normally, we'd each deal 4 cards and do a draft. Dudley's not so big on the drafting. I'm just going to deal 4 out and we'll each kind of pick from there. Alright, at the beginning of the game, I should have done this first, is that we need to know which heroes are coming to town. And you draw 1 hero for each player. So there's going to be 1 for me, 1 for Dudley. And so we've got a Cleric and a Paladin. Okay, and there's a lot of important features on this card. We'll look at each of them. So let's start with the Cleric. So in the top left of the card, there is a symbol, and that's a holy symbol. So if you aren't familiar with the classic trope of like a fantasy adventuring party, kind of like the basic core is always considered a fighter, a rogue, a cleric, and a wizard to give a balanced party. And of course, there's a million variations of that. So in this game, every hero that comes to town has an element of 1 or more of those 4 classes. So in this case, the Cleric is a straight-up Cleric. So he's only got 1 ability. He's only interested in buying items that have this symbol. He won't buy items that do not have this symbol. The Paladin is a little bit more well-rounded. She is interested in both fighter items and cleric items. Okay? So we have a Cleric and a Paladin. We have no wizard or rogue, so those items are basically going to be useless this round. Okay, so let's keep this card. So if you look at the top right of each card, it shows you how much money they start with. And I'll actually put them down here. So the Paladin starts with 25 gold. The Cleric only starts with 15. Okay. They also have basic combat abilities. So if you look at these pair of crossed axes, they both actually have an attack value of 2. Now remember, our Goblin Chief has a shield of 3. They each need to beef up their attack before they can actually do any damage to him. So that's where we come in. And they both also have a shield of 3. So they would also need to beef up their armor by 1 in order to avoid being killed in the combat. They also have abilities at the bottom that's kind of written in text. So the Cleric's ability is Charity. You may reduce the price of 1 item by up to 10 while selling it to this hero. And that may sound like a negative, but it allows you to sell an item you wouldn't otherwise be able to sell. So again, you do get points if they do well in battle. So even though you might be losing a little bit of money on a sale to a Cleric, you can equip him with something he might not otherwise be able to get. And then you can get your points through him fighting well. Okay, the Paladin also has an ability called Shield Master. After the shopping step, if the hero has a shield value of 6 or higher, gain 1 star. So if I can get that Shield Master's shield value from 3 to 6, get an automatic point. Now we're going to equip our stores. And we know kind of what we're looking for. So I'm just going to deal Dudley 4. We're not going to bother with the draft, obviously. We'll each just take 4 cards. All right. Now, okay. So my hand, I have an invisible cloak. You'll notice the invisible cloak has no picture. I was part of the focus group that decided that was a good idea, because he asked us about that when we did the play testing. I was like, yeah, that's kind of a cool idea, so hopefully people like that. But the invisible cloak is only interesting to rogues. And I can see neither of these guys are going to be interested in my invisible cloak. Heavy boots. Everybody needs boots. Sacred elixir. Everybody wants a sacred elixir. Steel sword. Fighter. Only the paladin will be interested in that. Okay, now let's take a look what Dudley got here. Sorry for cheating a little bit, guy. Oh no, he's got a demon charm. Pretty good item, but only interest to wizards. He's got a heavy mace, which, you know, they'd both be interested in that. Oh, he's hooped. He's got a cutlass and a nice scroll. All right. So that is a little trouble, because we only got one item that either of them will be interested in. So now we've got to choose what item we want to put in the display areas of our store. And the importance of the display area is that if I want first pick at a hero, at which one I want to come into my shop, I need to put something in the display that I know they're interested in. So for example, I know that they want, you know, I know which symbols they want, basically. I'm going to pretend I don't know what Dudley has, because I could easily cheat. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put this sacred elixir in my display, and this would actually go face down, so he doesn't know what it is. But for your sake, I'll put it face up right now. So the sacred elixir has a cost in the top corner. It costs 10 gold. It appeals to any class. Everybody wants to buy a sacred elixir. And it's got a single heart, and what that heart is the appeal value of the item. So actually, when everybody reveals what they've put in their display, whoever has the most hearts gets their first choice at who they want to bring into their store. If there's a tie, then it goes to the value of the item, so the most expensive item would get first pick. And if it's a tie again, that's where we go to this token that I gave Dudley at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to place my sacred elixir in the shop. And I should mention, you can't sell this item. So this is an item that's only to lure them into the store. Now Dudley's got a bit of a problem. And we're going to pretend he doesn't know what I have. He only has one item he can sell to either of these, so he doesn't want to put those in the display. So he probably already knows he's just going to take whoever I don't pick, and he's going to keep an item that he knows he can sell. He knows he can sell this mace to either of them. He's definitely going to hang on to that and not put it in his display. He might as well put something else in, because we only have storage for one item right now. So he'll just throw this in. So again, this would normally go face down, so you could bluff a little. All right, and I'll just put, okay, so these were his items. All right. So now we would reveal our display and see who gets first pick in the store. So Dudley actually has more hearts than I do, so he has the more appealing display. However, none of the heroes currently in town are interested in wizard items. So because he doesn't have anything of interest to the heroes, he can't choose anybody. He has to kind of wait till everybody who can appeal to the heroes has to wait for us to go first, and then he can kind of take the dregs. So even though I have fewer hearts or less appeal than he does on my display, because I have an item that they're interested in, I get first pick. And I'm going to choose the paladin because the paladin has more money. So the paladin comes over to my shop with all of her money. Then Dudley, the hero, the cleric, doesn't see any shop that he wants to go into. His window shopping isn't paying off, but he refuses to go into a store with another hero. So he's going to end up going to Dudley's store anyway to see what's inside, even though he doesn't really care for that ice scroll there. And again, in a real game, we could just all be playing this. I mean, you have to choose in order, but when you're doing the sales, you can just do it all at the same time. It saves a lot of time. So my paladin here, what can I sell? I can't sell the sacred elixir that I had on display, but I have a steel sword, So the paladin has the helmet and crossed swords symbol, and so does the steel sword. So that's something she'll be interested in. And the heavy boots have all symbols, so she'll buy that as well. The invisibility cloak, she's not going to be interested in. Alright, so this is going to cost her a total of 15 gold, which I put in my store. She keeps this 10, because she can keep coming back to my store. If she survives this fight with the Goblin Chief, she'll earn some money, and she can come back later. Okay, and so she's now equipped with these. So I've actually got her shield up, so you'll notice that the steel sword gives her an attack of +1, bringing her up to 3, which we know is going to be enough to kill the goblin, or damage the Goblin Chief. And the boots and the shield, the sword, each give her +1, so she has a total of 5 shield. But I'm 1 short. If I could bring her to 6, I would get an extra point. I was 1 short of being able to do that. So Dudley's going to make his sale to the Cleric over here. The Cleric is only interested in this mace. So he's going to give his $10 to Dudley. And he has got a +2 to his attack. So actually, in terms of attack, he's got a better weapon than the Paladin. But he doesn't have enough shields to survive a fight against the Goblin Chief. Now, unfortunately, heroes, like everybody else, have their good days and bad days. So they don't necessarily... We've beefed them up the best they can. They've gone back to their inn, getting a night's sleep. We're going to have to see how they do in the morning when they actually head out to battle. So there's actually a bit of randomization with this little deck here. We're going to deal out to them these cards that will kind of determine how they're doing. Okay, so I'm going to deal 1 to the Paladin, 1 to the Cleric, and let's take a look. And this can modify their stats. So I keep scratching. I got an itchy nose today. Oh, interesting. So my Paladin has drawn a card called Intrepid. Doesn't add any bonus, but the hero gains 10 gold. So she found some money, I guess, under the sofa in the hotel. The Cleric, oh, he's feeling clever today, and he needed this. So he actually drew a +1 to his armor, which he really needed. So he's actually going to do pretty well here. Now they're going to go off and fight the Goblin Chief, and I'll just actually put him here. And you know what? I'll put him here. See him? Alright, so my Paladin has an attack of 3 and shield of 5. Goblin Chieftain has a shield of 3. So heroes win on ties, basically, is an easy way to look at it. So the attack of 3 damages the Goblin Chief. Goblin hits the Paladin back for 4, but she's got 5 shield, so she doesn't take any damage. So because I equipped her, I get points for how well she does in combat. It makes me look good when she does well. So I get 1 point for her damaging the Goblin Chief, and I get a point for her surviving the combat. Then, let's see how our Cleric does. Now he's got 4 attack, more than enough to damage the Goblin Chief. And he has, because he was clever today, a little bit smart about how he maneuvered himself, he has enough to survive the attack from the Goblin Chief. So Dudley also earns 2 points, 1 for the successful hit, and 1 for the for surviving. And now, the Goblin Chief has taken 2 wounds. Well, how do you kill one of the monsters? When the monster has wounds equal to or greater than the number of players. So since we're just doing a 2-player game, the Goblin Chief's already dead. And because he's dead, the heroes will receive the amount of gold on the treasure chest. So they're each going to get 15 gold looting the Goblin Chief's lair. So 15 gold for, sorry, not for Dudley. That goes to the Cleric. And they return to town. All their weapons and armor that they've bought are destroyed in combat. So get rid of that. Same with my Paladin. Now she's earned 15 gold for looting. Now, she's actually pretty rich because she found that 10 gold on the way to combat. And they return to town. Okay. Let me just double check my steps here. Alright. So since none of the heroes died, we don't draw any new heroes. And I should mention at this point, it's possible for us to have a collective loss. So even though Dudley and I are competing in terms of points, if we ever get to the point where we need to draw a hero and there aren't any left to draw, we actually just all lose. So it is possible to have a collective loss. It's not very common. I don't think it's going to happen in a two-player game. I mean, we're pretty awesome at this. All right, so now what we're going to do is we take back our display. Oh, did we do that yet? No, not yet. My apologies. The first thing we're going to do is upgrade. So at the end of every round, we have the choice to upgrade our stores. And there's 3 things we can upgrade, and I should actually flip this over here. And starting with Dudley, because he has the token. And he's going to keep this token. Since he was the last one to pick a hero this round, he hangs on to that token. So Dudley gets to look at these options for upgrades. So what he can do is he can spend 10 gold to either buy an upgrade to his display. And what that does is allows him to put 2 items in display. So that can increase the number of hearts and increase the appeal of your display. So you have a better chance of getting who you want coming in your store. You can buy a +1 storage upgrade. So by default, even though I only have 1 item left, but Dudley has, you should have 3, Guy. Where'd the other one go? But anyways, you only have, oh, it's in our display. So we both have, sorry, we both have 2 left. Well, I have 2 left, he has 3 left. So we both have too many items. You by default only have 1 storage to carry from round to round. You have to discard anything in excess of that. But you can buy extra storage, so you can hang on to more items for every round. There's also employees you can hire. So in this case, we have an armor smith up. So if the hero has a fighter or cleric icon, he gets +1 armor, +1 shield. Now Dudley's going to get to pick first, because he has this token, and he's obviously going to go for this armor smith. But the armor smith does cost 10 gold, so basically all the money that Dudley made from that cleric is going back to the bank, and he's going to hire an armor smith. But now every time Dudley hires a fighter, someone with the fighter or cleric symbol, so either one of these people, they're going to get a +1 to their attack and their defense. And then I flip over the next employee. So there's a hawker, which lets you... The hawker, it's a one-time use card that lets you sell your display item. It's very situational. I'm not really interested in that. What I would like to do is actually hang on to both of my cards. So I'm going to spend 10 to add a storage upgrade. So now I can store 2 items. So then I retrieve everything in my shop. So my invisibility cloak and my sacred elixir. And I just put them here in my storage. Now in Dudley's case, let's see. So he can only keep 1, but they're all useless. He knows that like the people in town, the heroes that are currently here, not interested in anything he has. He'll just hang on to the demon charm just because it's his most expensive item in the hopes that maybe one of these 2 people will die and a wizard will come to town. These other 2 will just get discarded. And because the Goblin Chief is dead, we don't get robbed, which we would normally do at this point, but there's going to be a new monster. And this is an Orc Warlord. So a pillage. After the adventure step, the player or players with the most points must discard 2 random item cards. Oh, that's pretty horrible. So we really want to kill this guy. And it occurs to me reading this, I should be pointing out the steps as I go. So the game basically, it has 6 steps. So step 1, supply. And that's what I just, so the first step of supply, if the monster card is not face up, you flip it face up. Then, each player is dealt 4 item cards. You replenish your supplies every round. Don't add them to your storage just yet. Well, in a normal game you would be drafting, so you don't add it right away till after the draft. You don't want to get your stored items mixed up in your draft. But since Dudley and I are skipping the draft section, you know, we can just combine everything. So I just gained 4 items. Oh my goodness. That's pretty cool. So in my draw, I drew an item called a Bag of Holding. And this has a special ability that if I draft this card during the supply step, I can reveal it. I could keep it to sell, but I can choose to reveal it and draw 2 cards from the item deck, which I'm going to do. So I can actually take... Oh, yeah, that was a good choice. All right, so I discard that. So my Bag of Holding had a couple things in it. And Dudley... Oh, yeah, he did a lot better this time. So basically Dudley's whole hand, besides the demon charm he kept from last round, are saleable to either of these folk. So now we're going to make our display. We don't have, neither of us have a ton of money. Now look, if we look here where we have the Cleric currently has 20 gold. The Paladin has 25. It's kind of a big deal to get who you want in your store right now. So I need to make a nice display, but I can't display an item that I want to sell. But I have to display something that will lure them in. So, my goodness, this is kind of tough. Okay, I'm going to put this in and hope for the best. All right, and then Dudley's going to take a look. He's got the same dilemma I do. We can each put 1 item in, and I genuinely think that's probably what we would each do. So we reveal our displays. I put in a short bow. Dudley also has a short bow. And the reason we chose short bows, they both have 2 hearts. They both appeal to fighters. So both of these will attract the Paladin. But neither of them will attract the Cleric. But we're both gunning for the Paladin, because she has the most money. You don't need to worry about gunning for the Cleric, because you're going to get him regardless by default if you lose. So the problem here is that we both have an equal number of hearts. So since that's a tie, we go to the value of the item, which is 15 for both, because it's the same item. But because Dudley chose last time, he has this token, which means he gets first pick. It's kind of the tiebreaker here. So he's obviously going to lure the Paladin into his shop. Okay, with all of their money. And the Cleric, once again, kind of bummed out. He doesn't see any stores that he likes. But he's going to come wander into mine. Alright, so he's got 20 bucks. I can sell him. I can give him a discount of up to 10 to buy something, just to make him stronger. But I only have, well, 20 gold worth of things that he'll want anyway. Okay, so the only things that he's going to be interested in, I have a torch, which gives him a +1 to his attack. I have a cursed elixir. So he actually gets, he doesn't know it's cursed. He gets -1, he gets +2 to his attack, but he gets -1 to his shield because he doesn't have any wizard knowledge. So that's not good. He might not survive this. But I also gave him the sacred elixir. So because he's holy, he gets a +1 to his shield. So these actually kind of balance out, and I make more money. I actually take all of his money. Alright. But he gets all this equipment. And how does Dudley do over here? So he's got the really rich Paladin. He doesn't want to buy the demon charm, but will buy everything else. So he's got 25 gold worth of items that he can sell to her. Which he will. He's going to take all that. So he still has 10 left over. She's pretty loaded. Alright, and once again, they're going to go home. I'm so bad at actually walking you through the steps. So step 1 was supply. That's where we flipped over the monster and then drew the item cards and drafted. But again, we skipped the draft. 2 is display, where we put out our display items. Third was shopping, which is what we just did. The when the characters buy all their stuff. So now we're going to move on to the adventure phase, or the adventure step. And this is the step that if they don't kill this orc warlord, he's going to do some cruel things to Dudley and I. So we really actually want him to kill them, but we have to give them each an adventure card. Alright, Cleric, see what you can do. Paladin. Alright. Oh no, so he was clever yesterday. He's feeling very cautious today. Maybe he's figured out that he's drunk a cursed elixir. I don't know. But he gets -1 to his attack to give him +1 to his shield. So that might be good, because he's actually got pretty good attacks from his torch and his cursed elixir. So actually, we might be really good with our +1. That might be really good for him. So he's being a little careful today. So what he's got is a total of -1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on his attack. But the Orc Warlord requires 5 to hit. So the cleric does not make a successful attack because of that -1. His shield is +1, so he's 4, 3, 4, which is just enough to block the orc. So the cleric does not do any damage, but he does survive, so that is 1 point for me. Alright, but unfortunately he did not wound the Orc Warlord, so we're not going to kill him this round. Alright, well let's see how the Paladin does. Now, the Paladin, because she has the symbols by the armor smith, she gets +1/+1 by default. So she's already at 3/4. And then the mace gives her 5/4, 6/4, 6/6. You know what? Because of her shield master ability, and he got the shields to 6, Dudley gets a point just for that. That's also more than enough for her to both attack and damage the Orc Warlord and wound and survive. So the Paladin has done a wound to the Orc Warlord. They didn't kill the Orc Warlord, so they don't get the full reward of 30 gold in this case for killing him. But they do get the 15 gold for, looting a little bit of his lair as they were fighting. Again, all of their items that they used are destroyed in combat. They'll return to town, and they'll get 15 gold apiece from their loot. Alright, so the Cleric, they both lost a little money, but they're both basically back to what they started with. Dudley and I are a little richer. Alright, now, unfortunately, because we're at the end of the adventure step, this is where the Orc Warlord's ability kicks in. The player or players with the most points. So I have 3, Dudley has 3. So since we're tied, this is going to affect both of us. Discard 2 random item cards. I totally feel like I forgot to give the Paladin an adventure card this round. Oh well. So what she would have got. It would have just made her more powerful. She drew an awesome card, +2 to both attack and defense. So she just would have done a better job. Alright. So I'm going to lose... Well, I guess that includes this one too. So out of my 4 items, the Orc Warlord steals my invisibility cloak. Don't know how he saw that. And a cutlass. Oh, those are both items I can't sell to these heroes, so that worked out really well for me. And I have storage for 2 items, so I can keep both of these. Alright, Dudley. Only has 2 items left because he sold everything else to the Paladin. So those are just going to get stolen by the Warlord. Oh, well, the Cleric survived, but he didn't really pull his weight this round. Okay, so now we go to the upgrade step. So again, Dudley and I can take a look at what's on the table and make a purchase. Now, oh, that's the card she would have had. That didn't change anything. Nothing would have changed regardless. Let's reshuffle the adventure deck here. Okay, oh, I chose last. Actually, I have this token now since I chose last, the adventurer last time. So, the things I can do... Now, the storage does have an upgraded side that gives you a +2 storage, but I only have 2 cards I want to save anyway. So I'm not going to do that this round. What I might do is upgrade... do I want to display... I don't know if I want... I'll just buy this hawker. Yeah. Okay. Buy that. So I have an employee hawker, which will just... I don't know if it's ever going to be worthwhile. I mean, if I put a really expensive item... Because I have to pay 10 gold to hire her. And I can only use her once. Alright, well... Dudley, what you want to do? He has no reason to buy storage this round. We're both going to be kind of low on items. Especially him. Oh, I have to draw a new employee. He could draw a burglar. Oh my goodness. Of course he's going to do that. He's going to hire a burglar. Which lets him... It's a one-use item. He just gets to steal one of these. He's going to steal my short bow because he just lost... his. Okay. So he just hired a burglar to break into my shop and steal my short bow from the display. Alright, and then storage. So I'm storing this item. Alright, so back to round, beginning of the round. So step 1, supply. Cards already flipped over. We each get our 4 item cards. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And do a draft, but we're not going to bother with that. And now we choose our displays. Oh my goodness, like this could not have gone better for me. I drew 2 of the exact same item, which is something both of them will want. So I can put one in display and then actually have one for sale, which is really how all stores should be doing things. So that's good. And what's Dudley looking at here? And I guess I can add this to my... Oh, my goodness. Not a great draw for him. Oh, you definitely want that guy. What would you display here? Probably this one again. Yeah. Okay, I'll put that in. Okay, so now we flip our displays over. I put a Warhammer. Very nice. It's got 2 hearts on it, and it appeals to both of them. He put the short bow out again. So again, we both have 2 hearts. Both the Warhammer and Dudley's short bow cost 15 gold, so they're tied. But this time I have this token. So I get to pick first, which means I'm going to take... She's gonna come to my shop this time, see what's on over at this other side of town. Well, I guess she was my first customer. And she's trying to balance out the market here. Dudley's gonna get this token now since he got last pick. And the Cleric's gonna go to his shop. Alright, so what am I selling to the Paladin? She's got 25 gold. I do have this Warhammer. So I had a second Warhammer, just like the one in the window. But can I get her shield up to 6? I cannot. I do have an item that gives +2, but she won't use it. It's Wizard Robes. Let's see. So that's 10. She has 25 gold. I can also sell her a mace. So she can go out dual wielding a mace and a hammer. It's going to be pretty cool. She has enough defense. If nothing goes wrong, she has enough defense to survive the combat. I can't sell her the... I could sell her the staff instead, but that's less money. I want to take all of her money. And I feel like Dudley should have 2 more points. I didn't give him his points for the Paladin on the last round. Which means I shouldn't have got plundered or pillaged. It's all my fault. Okay. So I can't really blame it on Dudley. Okay, Paladin. So you've got a Warhammer and a mace. So you are at 6 attack and 4 shields. And what's the cleric? What's Dudley's cleric going to buy? 15, the Guandao. Okay, so that's all of his money. But because the cleric has the ability that lets Dudley sell him an extra item, Dudley can just give him the heavy boots for free. And he might as well, because he doesn't have enough storage to hold on to all this stuff anyway. And give him that, he has a better chance of surviving the combat here. Oh, not the short. That shouldn't go with the short bow. Okay. So the cleric's up to 4 attack and 5 shield. Dudley still has 2 items. I've still got 2 items here. All right. So now, again, they're going to go back to their hotel, get some good night's rest. And I'll cut the deck. So we'll go Cleric and Paladin. All right, Paladin. Oh, she's a little hasty. She's getting a little overconfident in her abilities here, which I think means she's going to die. It's unfortunate because she's been doing great. That's what happens. You get overconfident. You let your guard down. He's nervous. He knows she's overconfident. So his attack is down by 1. Well, let's see how we do. All right, so the Paladin is at a total of 6 attack. So she's definitely wounding this guy, which is good for me. I know he's going to die, which means he's not going to steal any of our items again. And, but because she's hasty, her armor's only 3. His attack is 4. Our Paladin has been killed in combat. All of her items, of course, are lost as usual. She did her job, but she died for it. Can the Cleric pull through? Now, he gets his bonuses from the Armor Smith, so he's actually got +1 each. So he's starting at 3-4. So 3-4, 3-5, 5-5, 5-6, 4-6. So he hits for 4, but because he's nervous, he doesn't hit. So I do get 1 point for the Paladin hitting the orc with my double-wielding weapons that I sold. I only get 1 point because then she died. Dudley's the other way, so his hero didn't do any damage, but did survive, so he gets a point for that. Alright, so only the Cleric goes back to town. All of his items are destroyed. Okay, he gets his reward, so he gets the reward for actually killing the Orc Warlord, even though he didn't kill it. He's kind of just getting all the credit. But he gets 30 gold for that, so he's the richest he's ever been. Alright, we go to the upgrade step, which no, Dudley's back to going first for this. Oh, what? I need to flip over a new... Of course he's going to pick that one. Dudley always gets first pick on the good ones. So he's bought a scribe now. Basically, the scribe gives +1 attack and defense to wizards and clerics. So that's a +2 for the cleric. And then it's my turn. Sales clerk. While selling items to a hero in your shop, you may raise or lower the price of one item card by 5. I'm actually going to... Oh, you know what? We got to sort out who the new hero is. When does that happen? Sorry, we should actually replace the hero at the end of step 4. A mage is coming to town. When the hero enters your shop, draw 1 card from the item deck, then discard 1 card from your hand. She's only interested in wizard items, and she starts with 20 gold. Okay. All right, well, what do I have for wizard stuff? What do I want? You know, I have 3 items in my hand. I think I'm actually just going to upgrade my storage so I don't have to get rid of anything. So I'll pay 10, flip this over. My storage I can now hold an additional 2, so 3 total items I can hold over to the next round. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Alright, and Dudley got his other worker. He can only store 1 item still, so he's got to discard down. Now, who's he going to try to sell to? It's a tough call with what he's got here. Good display. He knows he's getting 4 more cards. I think he's going to go with this one to store and get rid of those 2. Alright, so back to the... Oh, and this guy's dead. So let's get rid of this guy. Alright, so back to the supply step. Top of the monster deck. So this is our last monster. It's the Vampire Queen. And her ability is that she demands tribute. So after the adventure step, so after the combat, the player or players with the most points must choose to either lose 15 gold or discard all items in their shop. So definitely want her to die right at the as soon as possible. Okay. Well, we've got a wizard and a cleric. We've got to choose. Oh, we have to draft. Okay, well, that's good. Oh, you know what? That's actually, I'm pretty happy with this draw here. I can really go for, oh, well, yeah, well, that works out. That works out. I got a lot of items, so. Okay, Dudley. Interesting. Well, I feel like, who does he want here? The cleric has more money. What do you have that you could sell him? Not that much. I feel like he will put this in his display. And I'm going to put... yeah, put this in my display. Okay, so let's flip over our displays. I put an ancient relic in there. Now this appeals to both wizards and clerics. It's a pretty powerful item. Oh, I do have the hawker. I can actually sell it to one of them, so that's actually pretty cool. All right, she might pay off here. He put out a magic ring, which will only appeal to the wizard. Now here's the thing: both of us have 3 hearts, so these are both pretty appealing items. But mine is more expensive. So because I have the more expensive item out, I get first pick. And I want the cleric, actually. And it's actually in my benefit to take the cleric anyway, because Dudley's giving a double bonus to clerics. He only gives the wizard a bonus of +1s, but he's giving the cleric a bonus of +2s. I don't want him to get all those points. And the cleric has more money. Alright. So he's going to come to my store. That means she's going to go to his store. So he keeps the token because he got last pick. But she has a special ability that when she comes in, he gets to draw another card and then discard one. And he happened to draw something she might be interested in. So he'll just get rid of this. He doesn't need this holy symbol since she's not going to buy it. Okie dokie. Cleric, what do you want to buy? I got your Warhammer. Oh, yeah, I can sell him this one. I almost forgot. Okay, I'll remember that. Just, Oh, yeah, I can give him a discount. Oh, okay, yes. So if I give him, I can actually sell him $40 worth of stuff if I want. So this is $35.40. So he can buy all of these. So I'm going to give the cleric a discount for coming into my shop and really beef him up here because we want to kill that vampire queen. So he's giving me 30 gold for $40 worth of things. That really beefs him up there. And again, I can use my hawker. So normally, again, you can't sell your display item, but I'm going to use my hawker, discard her. Oh, that's not the discard pile. Let's put it over there. And so my hawker was able to sell the display item as well. So he got the ancient relic, warhammer, and staff, basically because I was able to give him a $10 discount on his warhammer. All right, what's this wizard going to buy? Now, he can't sell his display item because he doesn't have a hawker. She's got 20 gold. So best bet for her maybe is, well, the wineskin's just a -1 defense, so that's no good. So she has 20 gold. We'll give her the blasting rod and the wizard hat. That's all her money, so he gets that. Okay. So those are items he didn't sell. Alright, so hopefully they can finish him off here. We've only lost one hero this game. That's actually pretty good. Well, so far. I mean, she's got a defense of 5. We've got a lot of attack going on. I don't think it's even possible for us to lose anybody, really. Unless somebody forgets an item, which is one of the adventure cards. She does hit pretty hard. You need 6 defense to block her. I think that wizard's going to die. Alright, well, let's see how they're doing today. The cleric is... Oh, crap. You know what? The thing I just said where there's a card that makes you forget an item. Yeah, he drew it. He's forgetful, so he drops one of his items. So he forgot his staff at home. But why would he need it when he's got that big old warhammer? Hopefully he's still got enough armor to survive. He does, so... Yeah, he's forgetful, though. Alright, the wizard. How's she feeling? Valiant. Oh. So the Valiant, she's feeling valiant. She gets a point on the card. So if they don't kill the monster this round, the next shop she goes into, whichever store she goes into, gets an extra point. Okay. And she also gets +1 to her attack and defense. Alright, so let's see how the cleric does in his attack. So he needs 5 attack to hit, and he's got a total of 6. So he wounds the vampire queen, which gives me a point. And then does he survive? She hits for 6, and he's got 6 shields, so he blocks. So I get another point. See how the wizard does. So the wizard's going to get +1/+1 because of the scribe. So she's starting with 4/3. The hat makes her 4/4. The valiant makes her 5/5. And then the blasting rod makes her 8/5. So she hits for 8. Oh, interesting. So her attack is 8. She's very, very strong attack. So Dudley gets a point for that. However, she only had 5 defense. So she actually died in the combat. So she joins the panel. The clerics actually lived through the whole thing. Alright, so we got our points there. And because we got... Okay, so she actually took another damage, so the vampire queen is dead. There's no treasure for the heroes at this point. It's just end game when you kill the final boss. So all we do now is Dudley and I tally up our points. So I think I probably made some mistakes in here, you know, divvying out the points. I got to remember everything for 2 of us. So I have 6 in points that I gained from, you know, basically people using my items in combat against the monsters. And then I've made, so it's 5 gold is worth a point. So that's 2, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I have a total of 19 points. Dudley has 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. So I win 19-17, and we'll rub that into him later. So nice. All right, so that is Bargain Quest. It's a pretty fun game. It's very cute art. It's not too difficult to learn. It's got a lot of fun features. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And good night and good gaming.